Today we are reading V.S. Naipaul's A House for Mr. Biswas. Now apparently this is the winner of a Nobel Prize in Literature. We are going to go for it. We are going to be reading the prologue. I did somewhat read like the first 2 pages, but not a lot, but we're going to go for it. Prologue. 10 weeks before, when the doctor advised him to take a complete rest, the Trinidad Sentinel had no choice. It gave Mr. Biswas 3 months' notice and continued up to the time of his death to supply him every morning with a free copy of the paper. Mr. Biswas was 46 and had 4 children. He had no money. His wife Shama had no money. On the house in Sikkim Street, Mr. Biswas owed, and had been owing for 4 years, $3,000. The interest on this, at 8%, came to $20 a month. The ground rent was $10. 2 children were at school. The 2 older children on whom Mr. Biswas might have depended were both abroad on scholarships. It gave Mr. Biswas some satisfaction that in the circumstances, Shama did not run straight off to her mother to beg for help. 10 years before that would have been her first thought. Now she tried to comfort Mr. Biswas and devised plans on her own. Potatoes, she said. We can start selling potatoes. The price around here is 8 cents a pound. If we buy at 5 and sell at 7... Trust the Tulsi bad blood, Mr. Biswas said. I know that the pack of you, Tulsis, are financial geniuses, but have a good look around and count the number of people selling potatoes. Better to sell the old car. Okay. Financial struggling, you know. We are... Feels like we're in the diaspora, right? Okay, let's see where it goes. Selling the car is kind of crazy compared to like trying... I guess it's like a difference, but also why did he say bad blood? Is this like the starting of something that I'm not even conscious of yet? Okay, we'll see how it unravels. Better to sell the old car. No, not the car. Don't worry, we'll manage. Yes, Mr. Biswas said irritably. We'll manage. No more was heard of the potatoes, and Mr. Biswas never threatened again to sell the car. He didn't now care to do anything against his wife's wishes. He had grown to accept her judgment and to respect her optimism. He trusted her. Since they had moved to the house, Shama had learnt a new loyalty, to him and to their children, away from her mother and sisters. She was able to express this without shame, and to Mr. Biswas, this was a triumph almost as big as the acquiring of his own house. The trust in the relationship, I guess. But like, where's that trust coming from? He thought of the house as his own, though for years it had been irretrievably mortgaged, and during these months of illness and despair, he was struck again and again by the wonder of being in his own house, the audacity of it, to walk in through his own front gate, to bar entry to whoever he wished, to close his doors and windows every night, to hear no noise except those of his family, to wander freely from room to room and about his yard, instead of being condemned, as before, to retire the moment he got home to the crowded room in one or the other of Mrs. Tulsi's houses, crowded with Shama's sisters, their husbands, their children. As a boy, he had moved from one house of strangers to another, and since his marriage, he felt he had lived nowhere but in the houses of the Tulsis. At Hanuman House in Arwakas, in the decaying wooden house at Short Hills, in the clumsy concrete house in Port of Spain, and now, at the end, he found himself in his own house, on his own half-lot of land, his own portion of the earth. It seemed to him, in these last months, stupendous. Okay. So maybe Shama's family is very well off. He doesn't resent her for it, but I don't know. It's kind of like he's claiming things back. Do you get what I mean? Like he's claiming. Give me a second. He's claiming like some sort of ownership. He was a journalist. Let's see where it goes. Remember, this is only the prologue. The house could be seen from 2 or 3 streets away and was known all over St. James. It was like a huge and squat sentry box, tall, square, 2-storied, with a pyramidal roof of corrugated iron. It had been designed and built by a solicitor's clerk who built houses in his spare time. The solicitor's clerk had many contacts. He bought land, which the city council had announced was not for sale. He persuaded estate owners to split whole lots into half lots. He bought lots of barely reclaimed swampland, nearly. He bought lots of barely reclaimed swampland near Makarapo, and got permission to build on them. On whose lots, or 3/4 lots, he built 1-story houses, 20 feet by 26, which could pass unnoticed. On half lots, he built 2-story houses, 20 feet by 13, which were distinctive. All his houses were assembled mainly with frames from the dismantled American army camps at Dockside, Pompeii Savannah, and Fort Red. Okay, so we've got some American war, industrial war complex. I can't remember what the word is. We'll get there. We'll get there. I just need to see something, sorry. Okay. We good? I know it's 0 viewers, but we are parking. Okay. So this guy is reclaiming the American industrial complex. Something like that. Okay. On whole lots, or 3/4 lots, he built 1-story houses, 20 feet by 26, which could pass unnoticed. On half lots, he built 2-story houses, 20 feet by 13, which were distinctive. All his houses were assembled mainly from the frames from dismantled American army camps at Dockside, Pompeii Savannah, and Fort Reed, or Red. The frames did not always match, but they enabled the solicitor's clerk to pursue his hobby with little professional help. On the ground floor of Mr. Biswas's 2-story house, the solicitor's clerk had put a tiny kitchen in one corner. The remaining L-shaped space, unbroken, served as drawing room and dining room. Between the kitchen and the dining room, there was a doorway, but no door. Upstairs, just above the kitchen, the clerk had. The doorway with no door kind of reminds me of my home in a way, so. There is just random doors, doorways and no doors. Upstairs, just above the kitchen, the clerk had constructed a concrete room which contained a toilet bowl, a wash basin, and a shower. Because of the shower, this room was perpetually wet. The remaining L-shaped space was broken up into a bedroom, a veranda, a bedroom. Oh, okay. A bedroom, a veranda, a bedroom. Because the house faced west and had no protection from the sun in the afternoon, all Only two rooms were comfortably habitable: the kitchen downstairs and the wet bathroom and lavatory upstairs. In his original design, the solicitor's clerk seemed to have forgotten the need for a staircase filling both floors, and what he had provided had the appearance of an afterthought. Doorways had been punched in the eastern wall, and a rough wooden staircase, heavy planks on an uneven frame with one warped, unpainted banister. The whole covered with sloping gated iron hung precariously at the back of the in striking contrast with the white painted brickwork on the front, the white woodwork and frosted glass of the doors and windows. For this house, Mr. Biswas had paid $5,500. Mr. Biswas had built 2 houses of his own and spent much time looking at houses, yet he was inexperienced. The houses he had built had been crude wooden things in the country, not much better than huts, and during his search for a house, he had always assumed new and modern concrete houses, bright with paint, to be beyond him. And he had looked at a few. So when he was faced with one which was accessible with a solid, respectable modern front, he was immediately dazzled. He had never visited the house when the afternoon sun was on it. He had never visited the house when the afternoon sun was on it. He had first gone one afternoon when it was raining, and the next time when he had taken the children it was evening. Of course there were houses to be bought for $2,000 and $3,000 on a whole lot in rising parts of the city. But these houses were old and decaying, with no fences and no conveniences of any sort. Often on one lot there was a conglomeration of 2 or 3 miserable houses, with every room of every house let to a separate family who couldn't legally be got out. What a change from those backyards overrun with chickens and children to the drawing room of the solicitor's clerk, who, coatless, tieless, and in slippers, looked relaxed and comfortable in his Morris chair, while the heavy red curtains reflecting on the polished floor made the scene as cozy and rich as something in an advertisement. What a change from the Tulsi house. The solicitor's clerk lived in every house he built. While he lived in the house in the Sikkim Street, he was building another, a discreet distance away, at Morvant. He had never married and lived with his widowed mother, a gracious woman who gave Mr. Biswas tea and cakes which she had baked herself. Between mother and son there was much affection, and this touched Mr. Biswas, whose own mother neglected by himself, had died 5 years before in great poverty. Crazy. I'm still figuring out how I feel about Mr. Biswas. He definitely enjoys his house. He overpaid. He's kind of cynical in a way. Not cynical, but like maybe realistically. Maybe I'm too optimist to like get Mr. Biswas right now. I can't tell you how sad it make me to leave this house, the solicitor's clerk said, and Mr. Biswas noted that though the man spoke dialect, he was obviously educated and used dialect and an exaggerated accent only to express frankness and cordiality. Really, for my mother's sake, man, this is the onlyest reason why I have to move. The old queen can't manage the steps. He nodded towards the back of the house, where the staircase was masked by a heavy red curtain. Heart, you see, could pass away any day. Sharma had disapproved from the first and never gone to see the house. Hmm. I feel like there's also a theme of like the elderly in here. That is the onlyest reason why I have to move. The old queen can't manage the steps. He nodded towards the back of the house, where the staircase was masked by heavy red curtains. Heart, you see, could pass away any day. Sharma had disproved from the first and never gone to see the house. When Mr. Biswas asked her, "Well, what you think?" Sharma said, "Think? Me? Since when you start thinking that I could think anything? If I am not good enough to go and see your house, I don't see how I could be good enough to say what I think." "Ah," Mr. Biswas said, swelling up, vexed. "I bet you would be saying something different if it was your mother who was spending some of her dirty money to buy this house." Sharma sighed. "Ah, you could only be happy if we just if we just keep on living with your mother and the rest of your big happy family, eh? I don't think anything. You have the money, you want to buy a house, and I don't have to think anything." The news that Mr. Biswas was negotiating for a house of his own had gone around Sharma's family. Sunati, a niece of 27, married with 2 children, and abandoned for long periods by her husband, a handsome idler who looked after the railway building at Pokima Halt, where trains stopped twice a day. Why all of the exposition? Suniti said to Sharma, "I hear that you come like a big shot, aunt." She didn't hide her amusement. "Buying house and thing?" "Yes, child," Sharma said in her martyr's way. The exchange took place on the back steps and reached the ears of Mr. Biswas, lying in pants and vest in the slumber king bed in the room which contained most of the possessions he had gathered over 41 years. He had carried on a war with Suniti ever since she was a child, but his contempt had never been able to quell her sarcasm. "Sharma," he shouted, "tell the girl to go back and help the worthless husband of hers to look after their goats at Pokima Hall." The goats were an invention of Mr. Biswas which never failed to irritate Suniti. "Goats, goats," she said to the yard, and sucked her teeth. "Well, some people at least have goats, which is more than I could say for some other people." "Cha," Mr. Biswas said softly, and refusing to be drawn into an argument with Suniti, he turned on his side and continued to read Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. Okay, so we've got some intertextuality. So, bro reads Marcus Aurelius. Maybe that we're gonna put a pin in that part, right? Bro reads Marcus Aurelius. I'm gonna be back. I'm just not back, but I'm just at the PC doing. Okay, let's just do this. Damn. Oh my goodness, we're cooking. We are cooking. Okay. What? Can I use the mic? What does Mr. Biswas reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius tell us about the writer's intent of using that book for intertextuality for Mr. Biswas? We are cooking. We are cooking. We are cooking. Uh, Okay. We getting that he likes to resist, kinda. It's about Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, from what I'm like contextually getting from the first search that I did, which is how I think I want to do it. I don't want to get spooky, I want to figure it out. But Stoicism, the acceptance of reality. Acceptance of reality. Okay. Foreshadowing. Okay. The very day the house was bought, they began to see flaws in it. The staircase was dangerous. The upper floor sagged. There was no back door. Most of the windows didn't close. One door could not open. The cellotex panels under the eaves had fallen out and left gaps between which bats could enter the attic. They discussed these things as calmly as they could and took care not to express their disappointment openly. Sorry, I'm gonna move you closer, just in case. Okay. Tata's outside. I think he's watching the garden. Tata's outside. Should I show you all? Should I just show you all? Yeah. Just a quick. Okay, no, he's gone. He's gone. They discussed these things as calmly as they could. Their disappointment, and it was astonishing how quickly how quickly this disappointment had faded. How quickly they had accommodated themselves to every peculiarity and awkwardness of the house. And once that had happened, their eyes ceased to be critical, and the house became simply their house. When Mr. Biswas came back from the hospital for the first time, he found that the house had been prepared for him. The small garden had been made tidy, the downstairs walls distempered. The perfect motor car was in the garage. Oh, the prefect motor car was in the garage, driven there weeks before from the Sentinel office by a friend. The hospital had been a void. He had stepped from that into a welcoming world, a new ready-made world. Okay, transitions. We liking this transition.